those that can't make it. There we go.
Okay. So I just want to talk a little bit, not me talking. That's why I said come ready to chat. I called it re-entry. So now Craig and I spent most of the lockdown in Belito. So we spent 9 weeks down there. And I found this week terribly difficult, actually. And it's taken me massively by surprise. Massively. I've been completely and utterly, literally thrown off my feet with the anxiety. It's not even anxiety. It's not an emotion that I can pinpoint. So in that coming back and doing this, so on Tuesday, we came back on Tuesday. Wednesday I went into the office, and it was before I even hit the people. So it wasn't like I'd hit the people and I went into overload. It was as I'm walking up, everything was so different. I had to sanitize. I saw Reiki there. She had a mask on. I had a mask on. Sanitized temperature. I see Dani over there, and I see that one. Couldn't go close to them. Somebody comes up and they greet, but we're not too close. And even Lauren said to me, she said, Andy, you don't seem yourself. And I didn't feel myself. I felt like I was in an out-of-body experience. The only other experience that I've had with it has been a very bad case of jet lag, where you are a little bit beside yourself. You're not too sure if you're making sense, if your face is connecting to what you're saying to people. It was the weirdest thing because I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to be excited to see people. I was expecting to actually just enjoy it. And it's been such a incredibly, it's been weird. It's not traumatic. It's just been a weird time. So then I went into work. We had a meeting with people yesterday, and I was absolutely fine, absolutely exhausted. By 6 o'clock, we're eating with the kids. And I was like, I'm eating with the toddlers, and I'm actually really, really happy. I'd forgotten to eat. It was literally like I was jet lagged again. But I had a reasonable day. I woke up this morning and I had that same feelings again. And I'm calling it re-entry. And I just wonder if your children are going to go through a similar thing, or if you're not going to go through a similar thing. So maybe we can have a talk about what we think it's going to be like, how we're preparing our children. You need to be preparing your children. I said that last week, but now I've come back in. You need to be preparing your children, please. I don't know how you're going to do it. Maybe Amy, you've got some ideas. Maybe Cheryl, maybe Shireen, you've got some ideas. Maybe you've had a little outing. Maybe you've heard some things. Maybe you've experienced something from a grade 5 pupil, or heard something from a grade 5 pupil coming in. But I think this today for me is more of a chat session than me coming with wisdom or Amy coming with wisdom, or none of us have been through this before. So perhaps we need to maybe even be more aware of it. Maybe we can, in our small setting, be praying for one another actively rather than just, oh God, help us into this new season, but actually actively praying with our minds, saying we know that this is going to be tricky for our kids, and pray certain prayers. So I don't know, Amy, what you've been thinking this week? Your kids are due back next week.
Yeah, so maybe what we can do is just say if your schools have announced when your kids are going back, and then I'll share some of our experiences, and maybe you find it helpful, maybe not. So James is in grade 3, and he is due to start on Monday, this coming Monday. And Beth is in grade 2, and she is due to start the following Monday, but they've actually now made it Wednesday because Tuesday's a public holiday. So we're in the throes of making those decisions. Do they go back? Do they not go back? Yeah, it's now. Like it's not a when, because we've been saying when the school announces, when we find out, then we will make a decision based on all the facts. So today we had a meeting with the teacher, and she gave all the facts and she showed all the things, and there's been videos that the schools have sent that show the kids where they're going to sit and how everything's going to work. So we've got all the information, and at this point we have still not made a decision. But Cheryl, do you know when Seth is going back?
So far the government has said on the 6th of August he's only due to go back. Brooklyn is due to go back grade 11 the beginning of July. So I still got a whole month before them. And I don't know, because the grade 7s were delayed, so maybe I'm going to be delayed as well another week. I don't know.
Shireen and Nicole, do you guys have dates yet, or are you the same government school?
Yeah, we public school, so the grade 1s go back beginning of July. Hey, is it the 6th of July?
Grade 1?
Yeah.
I thought it was end of August.
No, it's earlier than anticipated. And then Lesedi goes back on the 3rd of August, grade 9. But we had our SGB meeting last night with the high school. And this COVID thing is a nightmare. All the rules and protocols that have been put in place and the orientation they have to go through, it's something scary. And yeah, I don't know. I don't see practically how it's going to work out, even just with one grade at the school, let alone an entire school. I just can't imagine how it's going to pan out.
Yeah, especially how they want them to go into the school and have temperature taken and this form filled in. And I mean, a school of how many hundreds of people in one class, it's not practical.
Can I just say, someone on the group, Tash, is asking for a password.
Okay, I'll get...
I'm on my phone, so if somebody could get onto their phone and just...
The password is 12345.
I agree.
Okay, thanks. That's great.
Yeah, the matrics go back on Monday. They went for their orientation today. They had a 2-hour orientation. So all the educators have had 2 training sessions with somebody who comes in and trains. The school has had to be sanitized. They've got a whole bunch of things that they've had to put in place. And the training sessions were quite involved. They have to set up quarantine booths in the school. If anybody has a temperature over, I think it's 38 or
38.
something, to go into like a specific quarantine booth until they can be collected. And there's a whole procedure with that. I mean, it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's insane.
Yeah, there's a lot of hoops that they have to jump through.
Yeah.
And that quarantine place that they set up is literally a plastic chair in a room, like, with a hand sanitizer. That's all. It's quite terrifying if a child gets put in there. I'm sure they would be terrified.
We can't even meet as the SGB. We have to continue with Teams meetings because every time outsiders come into the school, it has to be re-sanitized and re-disinfected. So they're trying to keep traffic to a minimum. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, our school has said that no adults will be allowed, no parents are allowed on the property. We have to drop our children and leave. We're not allowed to escort them in. We're not allowed to walk them through the process. It's going to be scary for the children to start with. We're not allowed to.
What if I do that to her? Davini will flip her lid.
Yeah, so
you see, those are some of the things that you have to consider, because remember, they've had you full time for it'll be for 3.5 months.
Yeah.
And the separation, all those things that you did at preschool almost need to be done, but they're not preschoolers anymore. They're not 3, so they can't cry. So there's going to come some other things that exhibit. And they're going to play them out. And you've got to be able to sift through to see what is actually going on. And I think probably we go back to lesson 1 that we had, and now's the time that we've got to be practicing kindness, probably more than anything else again, for our children. We've got used to them now. I think we're ticking through. I think the bad habits that we've got are there now. I think you can continue to try to change them, but the bad habits are there. The getting out and the getting away from your kids is still there. All of those things are there. I don't think that's going to change. But what is going to happen is that you're going to see behavior in your children that you haven't seen for a while. And we've got to be kind with that. We've got to understand where it comes from. I don't think that we can. This is a scary. I haven't heard any of this before. But when I hear that you've got to drop your kids and run for your Lesedi, she may be absolutely fine, and your Brooke, she might be fine.
It's a child thing. It's an individual thing as to whether how your child is going to cope with that.
Yeah, we have to prepare them.
The other day, Brooklyn was allowed to go and fetch stuff in her locker, and there were different times that were allowed. And she said to me, I said, how was it seeing your friends? And she said, they were so rude. So I said, like what? What? So she says, not one of them greeted me. They acted like I wasn't there. And I said to her, but like, so I did this to Seth yesterday also because he was freaking out about his teacher. And I said, you have to see where they are and they don't know how to behave. They don't know, you're not allowed to say hello too close, and you always run and hug each other, and you're not allowed to do this. And we don't know how to behave. It's such an awkward situation of touching your elbow, and that's like stupid, especially for a teenager. Like, I'm not doing that, you know. And I was trying to say to her, it's like no one knows this unprecedented situation of meeting, like what you were saying, getting to church, to work on Tuesday, Andy, of you always are excited to see each other, but you're almost not allowed to be excited to see each other.
Yeah, and remember, you've got this. So I'm using a pair of Craig's jeans. They are clean. So you've got a third of your face that you're reading facial expressions of. Now remember, your kids are instinctive, so they read your face. They read more, and in fact, body language is far more important than what you say. So you're going to have to, like your teenagers, that's where your teenagers are going to take massive strain, because they're seeing this. If the kids are not masked, they're seeing this, and that's a third of your face gone.
Yeah.
And they're not. It's awkward. We had a meeting with the principals, and they came in and they were masked, and we separated the chairs, and I said, please take your masks off. And the one young girlie came in with her mask still on, and the other lady said to her, please take your mask off. We don't know how you are. We don't know how you are, because they couldn't see the difference in the reception of the other ladies to her. These are adults we're talking about. The reception of the other ladies to her once her mask was dropped was phenomenal. Suddenly you could see her smile. Actually, you saw her beauty. It was quite an amazing thing. So these are the things that we're going to face, eh? I don't know whether we've thought about it.
A whole different world. They're going. It's not even reintegration. It's actually we're going into a world that we've not been into. We've not experienced. We don't know how to do it, and we have to, like Andy says, I think, show incredible kindness. I don't know if Edna and Witness, you guys have been quiet. If you want to share, I don't know how old your kids are, and maybe we start with Edna and what the school is saying from your side.
Hi guys. Sorry I can't show you my background because it's not so great. I'm literally sitting in my bedroom. For me, Belthea is 8 and hello?
And I'm also sitting in my bedroom.
Oh, excellent. Okay, mine, I'm just not camera ready, darling. You know, she goes to HHP here at Halfway Gardens, but then I haven't really heard much from the school. The information trickles in slowly. They use the D6 app to send us some schoolwork still. There's not really much support coming from the school, to be honest with you. So I literally just try my best revision, try to find things online, trying to just using my own frame of reference to just teach her certain things that I feel might be applicable to her age. You know, the DSTV channel 317 has been very helpful. So every day, 2 o'clock, I sit them down and then they watch, because it's very interactive. there's story time, there's literacy, and then there is grade 2 specific work, which is really amazing. Apart from that, in terms of opening, nothing. Only the government announcements. That's what I am relying on for now.
I just realized who it is that I'm speaking to, because I can't see your face. But I think that I hope that you are instilling in your children the creativity. Hello, I haven't seen you for probably 2 years now. I hope that you are instilling in your children your creativity, because you are brilliant and creative and wonderful. And if they've learned nothing else, if they just learn that creative genius that's in you, then that's awesome.
I try. Honestly, I use my frame of reference, like I said, so I do try. But from Urban Kids, it has been great because we do get the material with the daily challenges. So that one has been very instrumental and good in terms of supporting us as parents. I'm always missing the story time because I'm running around, the live story time. So then I will go back, and play the recorded one. And I use it mostly at night as a story time just before bed so that I can get some time out. So that has been very amazing in terms of the 2 schools. Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Great. Witness, have you got anything concrete that your schools are saying?
I think she's on mute.
Maybe she's shy. Okay. So I'll share a little bit with you our journey of what we are doing. Maybe it's helpful, maybe it's not. I definitely don't think that any of us are experts and know exactly how to proceed. So we've shown James the videos the school have sent out. Maybe I used the wrong language when I explained to him. I said, Mr. Jordan has got a gun he's going to shoot you with every morning to take your temperature.
Amy.
I don't know if that was the most thing, but I showed him. There was a video of one of the senior teachers, and it looks like that because they're not. They don't touch them with a thermometer. So there's a line on the floor and the child has to stand there and this man points a thing at their forehead and takes their temperature. And then he looks at the thing and waves them past. So he was demonstrating on the grade 7s or whatever they were, grade 9. And so my kids then told their teachers, oh, we see Mr. Jordan's going to shoot us in the morning, and the teachers were horrified. But we've told them all the things. This morning we sat in with his teacher and she explained and she showed them all the rules. And then we sat with him and said, now you've heard all the information. How do you feel? Do you have any questions? What do you And so I don't think he asked any questions. He's really upset that there's break time is not an option. So they will sit, every single class has a different time that they're allowed to eat, and they sit in demarcated areas and they eat. His friends are not in his class, his friends are in other classes, so he won't even see his friends during the day. So that is a big deal to him, and sport is a big deal to him, and he doesn't get to do those. So he actually is perfectly happy at home in terms of education. So he just said, no, he's cool, he'll rather just stay home. So what we've reached now is we said we'd make the decision at 4 o'clock today, and so that we know going into the weekend where we stand. But Gareth has asked him if he would consider going on Monday to try it out, and then we will discuss it on Monday afternoon and hear what he has to say and how school was. Beth, on the other hand, just was part of James's whole reintegration conversation with the teacher online, and She is so upset that she can't go. She wishes she was going on Monday. So we've had to say to her, this is actually now first James's decision, and then we will get to your decision based on, the future and how all that pans out. But there is an anxiety in them, I think, and like Andy said, it is going to play out in different ways and different children. So my 2 children have reacted completely differently. The one is like, nah, I can't be bothered. The other one is desperate to go back. But I think we have to hear them. I think we have to speak a lot about it. We've been practicing wearing masks. A lot of those things are freaky to me. I battle to keep a mask on, but they have to keep a mask on for 5 hours. They have to take a change of mask in case they sneeze in their mask.
And zip-lock it in a bag.
Zip-lock bag, and and also I think it depends for me on how the teacher is. So James's teacher has been incredibly calm throughout, and in every on all the online calls, she's been a very calm presence. She's spoken very openly about, you may be feeling anxious, you may be hearing your parents talk about money or their jobs, you may be listening to the president speak, and she's done the season really, really well. She's spoken to the kids the whole way through. So in terms of managing the children's anxieties, I think she'll do great. So all the decision of sending all the aspects have to be in place to decide as a parent whether you're comfortable or ready to send your children back. So I don't think it's a one size fits all. But I also listened to educational psychologist who has said all the same things. We need to manage our children's emotions. We need to realize it's scary. We need to prepare them well. They need to practice wearing their masks. They need to understand all the various things, like, especially the little girls. They love to run up and hug their teachers, and they are going to feel cast aside or rejected or whatever when the teacher actually, is standoffish with them, that it's unnatural, but we have to prepare them for all those things. And I've actually listened to 2 different, or I read an article and then I listened to an pediatrician. And in terms of the coronavirus itself, the research that they're now saying they've collected enough data to know, because there's been very conflicting statements out there. But the South African Pediatricians Association, or whatever, something like that, they are very confident that children are actually very, very low risk. So in terms of the risk of our children, it seems like it's not as risky as what was initially thought, or what we might feel. We might feel fearful that our children are going to get sick, but actually the risk to the children is very low. Even the 2 that are probably the most risky, she said, is those children that have asthma. But even the asthmatic children aren't that as at risk as adults. So that was interesting to me. She said 1,000 children died of flu-related influenza last year. And she said the stats that have come out of China, Italy, and America so far is less than that children have actually died from coronavirus. So if you take that into account, our children are maybe safe from a health point of view, unless they maybe have underlying, like, severe immune compromised children, potentially asthma. And interestingly, she said the children that have become the most infected, the children, whatever, are obese. So overweight children seem to be the most risk, not even above asthmatic children, which I found really interesting. I don't know how that works together. But I think so for me, it's how you feel, how you as a parent are going to communicate to your children, how the school has communicated, are all the protocols in place? Because obviously we still want our children to be safe, even if they are low risk. We don't want to expose them unnecessarily. And then it's an individual child-to-child case. So I've said for the last few weeks, I've been saying I might send one child and not the other, just because it might be better for one child and not the other. It depends on their emotions and how their teacher's going to handle it. They're in the same school, but the teachers are two different humans. So it's a conversation that I'd encourage you to have with your children and say, how do you feel? What do you think about this? And actually start preparing their hearts, because it's a whole different world that they're going back out into. But if we prepare them well and we handle it with, not put our own anxieties onto them or our own frustrations onto them, I think we can reintegrate or whatever into the world successfully for them. But it's something that we can't just,
not going to just happen.
Like those memes, we just ditch them and run. And we actually have to prepare them well for this next season.
I do think, again, that this is an opportunity to hold those hard and holy things in our hands. And we are called as the church to be the shining lights. And if we listen to what Rory said on Sunday about from Peter being those shining lights, and I think God is being so incredibly gracious and kind to us for us to be able to have these sort of conversations. Because if we just listen to pediatricians, if we just listen to we can become completely swamped by what is out there. Now, remember, nobody knows. Nobody really, really knows. And we're arming ourselves. And I think it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I wish I'd armed myself better coming back in. But, I mean, Amy, I think just a conversation like this, hearing what Amy's school is doing compared to Halfway House Primary, your Halfway House Primary can learn and actually maybe even prepare her children better because she's heard Amy. You hear what I'm saying? And we can learn off one another. But I think the base thing for me is that we're all going to be reintegrated. This is not a big God. We have the Holy Spirit that was within us. We're called to be shining lights. We're called to hold these things. We're called as parents to parent our children. That we've been given some time. And even if it's August that they're only going back and we've got a whole nother 2 months, we're going to need to be those families that stand like shining lights, not to be better than everybody else, but to show others how to do it. Oh,
you went dark.
I know, because I've now got low battery on my phone. Low battery on my phone. My computer email's not working. I'm in a sorry state of affairs.
Yeah,
in this day and age. But you hear what I'm saying? The shining lights is not to be, wow, we've got through this so well. No. The shining lights is to say, come, we've walked a journey. The Holy Spirit has showed us. God showed us. We're calm. Our kids are calm. Our kids can be shining lights for other children. We're making it easy for people to turn to God. That's what we're doing in this. So it's not all about how skillful we become and how our children we integrate, and if we're doing it well. It's actually we need to do it well so that we can shine the light on the path for other people to follow. And nobody's been this way. Nobody's been this way. I think America is so wrapped up in what's happening there, which is spilling over into us, which is creating something else as well. But our re-entry into school, we as Christians, we have to take it. We have to take the responsibility and say, okay, Holy Spirit, we have to go before God in these next couple of weeks and say, Jesus, how do we do this? So to hear Amy's story, to say, involve your children in the process. I think you can involve a 5-year-old in the process. I really do. I think you can involve a 3-year-old in the process. And I think you've got to be talking to your teenage children, definitely, without a shadow of doubt. But more importantly is we need to be shown the process ourselves. So we need to be connected to the Holy Spirit. Again, we go back to, what are you hearing God say to you about your situation, about your children, about your school that you've chosen to send your children to? And I read a very interesting thing in Proverbs where it said, if we allow complaining to keep coming out of our mouth, it actually seeps into our very souls. And I don't want that to be said of any Christian anywhere, regardless of what church you go to, is that I don't want that complaining to, even if our schools are not doing it right, or not preparing us well enough, or not opening on time, or not doing those things, let's not be the ones to complain, because I don't want it to seep into our very souls where that comes out of our mouth. Let's be the solution finders. Yeah, we might not be the ones to bring the solutions, but we can be the shining lights, because God can give them to us. Number one, He can give them to us, and we can still be shining lights and saying, okay, God, how do we handle this situation? How can I be a light to those other parents that feel exactly like I do, and I feel like complaining, and I feel like railing against the world about the lack of communication, about the lack of protocols, about the lack or the too many protocols, whatever it may be. We're going to have both sides of the coin. So I think if you could be thinking about that, that's why I said I think this conversation that we have is so important. Don't dismiss it and say, oh, there's nothing much was said today. Actually, I think a lot more was said today than if you go back and say, God, what have you said to me, and what am I going to do about it? Because we have a brilliant opportunity. Each person, not the preacher of the church, or the one with the most gifting, or the greatest speaker, or whoever you may be. It's your ordinary man in the street. It's your ordinary stone in the church. Your building together of this beautiful temple that's got a huge opportunity to play, to reveal God's character to our schools, to our children to show other children. It's an enormous, incredibly daunting responsibility, but I think God's grace and God's kindness is there for us, and we've got some time. We're not all going back to school on Monday. We've got some time. So I think if we put that in our psyche, not in our psyche, in our prayer life, in our thought life, in how we talk to one another, how we talk to our friends, I think it'll make a huge difference. I think we can make a difference in this time. Don't know, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I agree.
Unmute yourselves. Tell us what you're thinking.
So for me, the teachers have been really, really heavy on my heart.
Yeah.
I just love teachers in general, because I wouldn't make, my kids wouldn't make it if it wasn't for them. And now what happened with Seth is his teacher had to be back at school. The announcement was on Saturday or Sunday that no kids were going to go. She has to make programs, curriculums for 5 grades. I can say standards. We're all old here. And then nothing happened on Monday. Then we had to Zoom from school, where the Wi-Fi was terrible. So they didn't get their schooling on Monday. And he was so frustrated. And that's where I sat down and I said, boy, you have to, I know you're only 9, but you have to see how this teacher is struggling, and she still has her children at home that aren't going to school, and she still has to teach them. Then she went to school and she came back on Tuesday and taught them at 3:30 in the afternoon, and he was like, 3:30. So I said, no, sit down and listen how this teacher has to live her life right now. And it's nobody's fault. It's not the government's fault. It's nobody's fault. We don't know what we're doing. So then Wednesday, he was happy to have school at 3:30 in the afternoon, and I was not. I hated it, but anyway. And then I said to him, I said to the PTA, because I'm PTA, I said, let us go and help the teachers on those days that they are coming in. I said, because it sounds like the whole protocol has come from the government, because all our schools seem to be the same. And you have to stand there. You're not allowed to touch this squirty thing. You have to push it with your foot. Now, our grade 1 is going to first go and push it with their hands.
Exactly.
Yeah. So people have to be there to try and is there enough teachers? Because they still have to now go and teach. I'm broken for these teachers. So I said to the PTA, come guys, if you're not working, let's go and help the teachers pull in the protocol that the government has asked. So I had a few thumbs up. So it hasn't started because there's no teachers, but that's where I am. I'm going to go there, and 7:30 is not fun because I've been waking up at 8 o'clock. But let's do it. Let's go and support the poor teachers. And I mean it in a nice way, poor. So that, because they still have to deal with their lives, and now trying to integrate these other children in as well. So that's my take. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's a beautiful attitude, because I think teachers have worked harder and it's been more stressful, and my hat's off to teacher. I don't know how they've done it. So I think they've cut the school holidays shorter for July because of time lost. I think that's the wrong move. I'm not going to argue with anybody, but I think our teachers are going to be exhausted. It's been tough. I think our teachers need holiday. So
and they have to catch up work for some kids that have done it. Some kids haven't done it. Some kids were on Zoom but haven't done it. They have to go through all of this stuff and try and catch up kids that haven't got their work done. The parents weren't there. The parents have now started working. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, but we can leave a light to the teachers, like Andy's saying. I mean, a word of encouragement, a thank you. I don't know, we can't send things to them. I don't know what we can do, but I sent a message to the teacher today and just said thank you, because she hosted this meeting with all these parents, with their questions and anxieties, and she did so well. And I just thought, actually, I can just send a message and say thank you. It's not, that's not difficult. Whether I can send her a gift or not, I don't know yet, because I'm not even allowed into the school. And the kids are not allowed to take bags to school. They're not allowed to take anything in. But we can actually just encourage the teachers and thank them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm worried about Alicia's teacher. She's a chronic asthma sufferer, so she's not actually going to go back to school until, she said, maybe the end of September. So I don't even know what's going to happen with Alicia's class, because this teacher's the bomb. She is amazing. And Alicia loves her to bits. So I don't know who's going to fill in, whether Alicia's excited about going back to school. I asked her the other day, but she doesn't know that her teacher's not going to be there yet, because I only found out after we had the discussion. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's all those things that we have to prepare the children for, is the fact that they might not actually end up with the teacher that they had.
Yeah.
And ultimately that teacher has to make decisions based on her own safety. So we have to respect that and honor that. But it is tough. It's all the tiny little things that our kids are going to have to face that we wouldn't maybe, never mind, they're just going to, get a substitute teacher and that teacher will teach your child. But if your child has such a good bond with the teacher, then it's tough. But if we start having those conversations, hopefully our kids are well prepared when the time comes.
Yeah.
We had to do this as part of our art. Can you see? Dirty mask. Excuse the drawing. It looks like my drawings. We weren't blessed with art. And this is a clean mask. So this was an art thing. So they have to take this to school. So they have to have 2 or 3 a day, I think, something like that. And before break, you're going to put your dirty and clean mask in here. So they've started preparing the kids like that. For safe.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, a lot of protocols, a lot of so much stuff. But I think that our kids can reintegrate, can go into this world successfully and happily, as long as we're willing to have the conversations and not. I think the biggest thing is on Monday morning I'll probably be anxious, but not to put my anxiety onto my child. I think that's the thing that I have to be most aware of, is not projecting what I might be feeling and my own anxiety onto him. But so we will learn and grow together, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Edna, if you would like, I can send you some of the stuff that the school's been sending to Beth, if that's helpful.
Okay, for grade 2s.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. That'll be amazing.
Do you still have my number?
I believe I do. Otherwise, maybe I can check with Kaylee and she can give that to me.
Cool. Yeah, just pop me a message. I'll send you some stuff.
Okay, if you didn't change your number, then yes, I do have.
No, I haven't changed it.
Okay, excellent, excellent.
I'll send you some things.
Thank you.
Cool. Andy, do you have anything to add to wrap up? Or anybody got anything burning on your hearts?
I don't see Andy. I think she's ditched us.
She's back.
Where is she?
It says she's there, but she's quiet. So anybody got any burning questions, burning things they want to get off their chests?
I think
Anybody Oh, sorry, Edna, go.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to ask you, like, what was the reasoning behind kids having to change the mask after they sneeze? Because if it's your germs, it's your germs, I suppose.
I suppose it's just to, well, number one, that they don't breathe in, their own, if it's just normal cold or flu that they have, that they're not breathing that germs in still. And also, once the mask has got, dirty, then the kids are going to touch it a lot because it's going to be uncomfortable. So, and then you touching your face. So they're trying to avoid the children touching their face a lot.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
What was that?
Kids are like, oh, I'm mom.
Exactly.
Cheryl, were you going to say?
Yeah, I just want to, if you got any kind of special masks that you have found to be comfortable, could you post on our group? That was one of me and Seth's very big this morning, because we had to go to school and fetch some stuff, and he was like, I don't know what mask to wear, and I'm like, they're all uncomfortable. I don't know what to say to him, and he's going to have to wear this thing for 5 hours. So we have bought special sports ones, which are uncomfortable. Granny made us. We bought from the shop. It's like a mission, and now I don't know. I don't know. Like, all of them are horrible.
So this gadget I got yesterday. So the kids have tried it out only once. So it's just a piece of plastic. It
fits on the back.
And then they hook their mask onto this piece of plastic and not around their ears, so their ears don't get hurt. I got this. There's a lady in the church that's she makes masks, and she's selling these things. So I can post her details on the group.
So his problem the problem would be all obvious is on his face. And I'm like, that's just what it is. But I just thought, if anybody if you've got some kind of solution that your kids are living okay with.
No, they're all struggling with claustrophobia.
Yeah.
So the school has, the children are allowed to wear visors, those visor things, but they have to sanitize them throughout the day. So I think it depends on the school as to whether they're allowed to wear those or not.
I think my biggest concern is my kids have to go to aftercare after school. So they're going to be in a mask for like 10 hours a day. And that's freaking me out because I don't see how that can be healthy at all.
So maybe you can find out from the school about the visors, because our school said today they're allowed to have the visors on.
Yeah,
I haven't tried them with my kids. I don't know if my kids would wear them, but
yeah, that's the next question, is to actually get them to wear that. My kids don't really like hats.
my kids also have never worn hats, so it is a struggle.
I was just thinking though, one kid by themselves is difficult to sometimes like control, but when there's a bunch, it actually seems easier because they all just listen. So maybe our struggles are not as hard as what we think when they get it out there, when everybody's wearing a mask. I mean, when we go to the mall, he wears the mask, no problem. Sanitizers, no problems. Gets shot on the head, no problem. So maybe it won't actually be as big a deal as what we think when the crowds are wearing them.
When everyone else
is just normal. Yeah. Oh, that was a good one. I like that one.
Awesome. So if you have questions or suggestions or helpful tips, please let us know. Post on the group so that we can learn from each other as we go into this next season of our lives.
And then tell us how you go on Monday, because you seem to be the only one back.
Yeah.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Andy, are you back now officially or not? We're not sure.
She sent a message to say internet issues, cheers.
Okay.
Thursday, I've heard literally nothing. I've heard nothing. It's been, I've left the meeting, come back. I've left the meeting, I've come back. I've missed the last 10 minutes. So sorry about that, girls.
It does sound like you are swimming.
Carry on. I literally, it's been bad.
Well, I can sort of see your face. So it's nice to see your face. All right, ladies. So enjoy your weekend and let's keep in touch. Let's help each other. Whatever helpful tips you learn, whatever things work, whatever don't work. If you're feeling anxious, let's keep in touch.
Thank you, ladies.
Cheers. Bye.